My mom lied about her affair, and now she wants me to smile at her wedding. That's the reality I'm living in right now. My mom, after 30 years of marriage with my dad, cheated, lied straight to my face about it. And now she expects me to not only meet the guy, but basically roll out the red carpet for her fiancé. When my parents divorced last year, it was brutal. My dad was crushed, but he swore up and down that my mom had been cheating. She denied it with such conviction that I believed her. Actually, I didn't just believe her. I went to war for her. I defended her every time my dad brought it up. I told him he was paranoid, bitter, and needed to accept that Mom was simply unhappy. That unhappiness was her reason for leaving. Looking back, it makes me sick, because what I didn't realize was that she was letting me do her dirty work. She was using me as her shield to cover up the affair. And in the process, I pushed my dad away. Our relationship took a hit. Imagine standing in front of your own father, the man who raised you, and saying, "You're wrong. Mom would never do that." But he wasn't wrong. A month after the divorce, my mom suddenly tells me she's going on a date. She sounded so giddy, almost like a teenager. I wanted to be supportive. I remember actually smiling and saying, "That's awesome, Mom." I even FaceTimed her new guy once, gave him a quick, "Hello," thinking it was some innocent, fresh start. But then things started moving at lightning speed. Within weeks, they weren't just dating. They were going on weekend trips, spending holidays together, meeting each other's families. She was already planning a big vacation with him for the next year. And that's when it hit me like a freight train. None of this was new. The way she was with him. It wasn't brand new infatuation. It was comfort, familiarity. And that could only mean one thing. She had been seeing him while she was still married to my dad. I confronted her about it, straight up asked, "Were you having an affair before the divorce?" At first she scoffed, laughed it off like I was being ridiculous. Then, when I pressed harder, her face changed. She went into defensive mode. "We were just friends, we only talked occasionally." But I kept digging. And finally, she cracked. She admitted it. That was the moment my stomach dropped. Not only had she betrayed my dad, she betrayed me. Because she let me fight her battles for lies she told. But here's the part that stung even worse than the affair itself. When she finally admitted it, I thought maybe she'd at least own up, apologize, and show some remorse. But instead, the whole conversation flipped into something I wasn't prepared for. She started crying and saying things like, "You don't understand what I went through. I was miserable for years. I stayed because I wanted you to have a good childhood. I was a good mom, wasn't I? Don't I deserve to finally be happy?" And suddenly, I wasn't just dealing with the truth about the affair. I was being guilt-tripped into comforting the person who had just lied to me. It was like I was on trial. Every time I tried to explain how hurt I was, she made it about her pain, her loneliness, her sacrifices. That manipulation cut deeper than the cheating itself, because now I wasn't just betrayed, I was forced to question whether I was a bad daughter for even bringing it up. And for a while, I almost believed her narrative. But deep down I knew. She hadn't only betrayed my dad, she betrayed our entire family. She made me doubt him. Made me treat him like the villain, when in reality he was the one telling the truth the whole time. One line that stuck in my head was this: "You used me to lie to my father. Of all the things you did, that can't be forgiven." I never actually said it out loud to her, but I repeated it to myself over and over. I started pulling back emotionally. I kept talking to her because she's my mom, but I didn't trust her anymore. And it wasn't just about her lying. It was the way she tried to twist the knife afterward. Then she hit me with the big one. "If you really love me, you'll give fiancé's name a chance. He makes me happy. Don't you want me to be happy?" That was the final straw. Because yes, I wanted her to be happy. I still do. But happiness built on lies and broken vows? That's not happiness. It's self-indulgence. And here's where I really started to see the bigger picture. This wasn't just about her choices in marriage. This was about how she saw me. I wasn't her daughter in those moments. I was her accessory, her prop, someone to parade out so the world would think her new relationship was normal. And the pressure only got worse when she went from dating to suddenly flashing a diamond ring on her finger. The day she told me she was engaged, I felt like my chest caved in. She called me, her voice sparkling with excitement. "He proposed. Isn't that amazing? You have to meet him soon. I want you at the wedding, front row." I didn't even know how to respond. My brain just froze. Because while she was celebrating, I was thinking, this is the man who blew up our family. This is the guy she lied about while making me fight with my dad. And now I was supposed to smile, clap, and call him stepdad? When I finally found words, I said, "Mom, I'm happy you found someone, but I'm not comfortable meeting him. I can't support this." Her tone changed instantly, from giddy to sharp. "That's unfair. You're punishing me for following my heart. You don't get to dictate my happiness. You're being selfish." Selfish. That word burned. Because how is it selfish to set a boundary after being lied to, manipulated, and dragged into an affair I never asked to be part of? And here's the thing. She didn't just betray my dad. She betrayed me too. She took my trust and stomped on it. She turned me against the man who raised me. One of the comments I read online summed it up perfectly. She didn't just betray your father. She betrayed the entire family. And that's exactly how it felt. At that point, it wasn't even about her affair anymore. It was about respect. She showed zero respect for my father, zero respect for me, and now she demanded respect for herself and her fiancé? The audacity of it all made my head spin. Another thought kept echoing in my brain. She lied, cheated, and then gaslit you. That's a triple betrayal. And that's exactly what it was. The worst part was the emotional blackmail. She kept framing it like, "If you love me, you'll come. If you're a good daughter, you'll stand by me." No acknowledgement of the pain she caused. Just demands for compliance. I knew then that whatever relationship I had with my mom would never be the same. Because once someone weaponizes your love against you, you can never look at them the same way again. But then she upped the stakes even higher. She told me not only was I expected to meet him, but that I should help with wedding planning. When she brought up wedding planning, I actually laughed out loud. Not the funny kind of laugh. More like the, "Are you freaking kidding me?" laugh. She said, "I'd love for you to be part of the bridal party. Maybe you can even do a toast at the reception. It would mean so much to me." And in my head, I thought, a toast? Oh, I've got one for you. Something like, "Although I've only met Bob recently, I can tell he really makes my mom happy. And I'm happy too, because I remember how they first met. Bob was married to his wife, while my mom was married to my dad. Since you're both cheaters, you honestly deserve each other. Congrats. Can't wait to see how long this lasts." Then I'd drop the mic and walk out. Obviously, I'd never actually do that, but the idea was darkly satisfying. Because the truth is, their love story isn't romantic. It's built on lies, on betrayal, on broken families. Why should I be the one to dress it up in flowers and champagne? When I told her again that I wasn't comfortable, she doubled down. "This isn't about you. It's about me. If you can't support me, maybe you don't belong at the wedding at all." That was supposed to scare me into backing down. But honestly, it gave me clarity. She was right. I don't belong there. I don't belong clapping for the man who helped rip my parents' marriage apart. I don't belong posing for pictures like everything is fine when it's not. What killed me was her sense of entitlement. She acted like she could cheat, lie, and manipulate. And then just reset the board and demand everyone else play along. As if my dad's pain didn't matter. As if my feelings didn't matter. And the more she pushed, the colder I felt toward her. Because she wasn't asking anymore. She was demanding. And in her mind, refusing to comply wasn't a boundary, it was betrayal. One of the hardest things I've realized is that she sees my silence as disloyalty, but she never saw her lies as disloyalty to me. And that double standard is why I can't bend. The only thing that kept me sane through all this was reconnecting with my dad, who, by the way, ended up having the ultimate post-divorce glow-up. If there was one silver lining in all of this mess, it was my dad. After the divorce, he didn't crumble. He rebuilt. He started hitting the gym again, dropped the weight he'd been carrying for years, picked up hobbies, traveled. And honestly, he looked better than I'd ever seen him. Friends joked that he was having a hot boy summer. And honestly, they weren't wrong. I apologized to him for not believing him when he said Mom was cheating. I'll never forget that phone call. I told him I felt horrible for defending her lies. He just sighed and said, "You don't need to apologize. She wanted you to believe her. That's on her, not you." That moment broke me and healed me at the same time, because even after everything, he didn't hold it against me. Meanwhile, my mom was still pushing, still trying to guilt me, still framing herself as the victim. At one point, she said, "You're making me choose between you and the man I love." And I thought, no, Mom, you already made that choice. You chose him when you cheated. You chose him when you lied. You chose him when you used me as a shield. One comment I read online really hit home. Go be with your dad the day she gets married. Take him to a water park, ride all the slides. Just do something fun and stupid to remind him he's not alone. And honestly, that sounds like the best plan I've ever heard. Because if anyone deserves support on that day, it's him. I've even imagined it. The same day my mom's walking down the aisle in some white dress pretending it's true love, my dad and I are at Six Flags, eating churros, screaming our heads off on roller coasters, laughing until our stomachs hurt. That image feels 1,000 times more healing than standing in a church pretending I approve of her lies. And here's the kicker. The more my mom demanded I embrace her fiancé, the more I realized I didn't have to. I can want her to be happy from a distance. I can keep my boundaries. Supporting her happiness doesn't mean I have to endorse the person she built it with. Because at the end of the day, she betrayed her marriage, she betrayed my dad, and she betrayed me. Actions have consequences, and this is one of them, which is why I finally made my decision about the wedding. When the invitations finally went out, my name wasn't on the bridal party list, but it was front and center for family. My mom texted me a long message. "I hope you'll reconsider. It would break my heart if you weren't there on the most important day of my life." And for the first time, I didn't feel guilt. I didn't feel pressure. I just felt calm. I wrote back, "Mom, I want you to be happy, but I cannot pretend to celebrate a relationship that started in lies. You betrayed Dad and you betrayed me. I'm not meeting him and I'm not attending the wedding. Please respect that." She called me selfish again. She cried. She begged. She tried every angle, reminding me of childhood memories, bringing up all the sacrifices she made. But I didn't budge. Because love without respect isn't love, it's control. And I refuse to be controlled anymore. At this point, my relationship with her exists at arm's length. I'll answer her calls, I'll be polite, but I won't play the game. She chose her affair partner. That's her right. But I get to choose too, and I choose peace. My dad? He's thriving. He doesn't need to see me sitting in a pew clapping for the man who wrecked his marriage. He needs me by his side, laughing, living, and reminding him he wasn't crazy all those years he suspected. And honestly, that's where I'd rather be. On her wedding day, while she's cutting cake with her soulmate, I'll be cutting loose with my dad. And I won't feel guilty for 1 second. Because here's the truth. My mom didn't just betray her husband, she betrayed her family. She lied to me, manipulated me, and tried to use me as a prop to legitimize her affair. And the saddest part? She still doesn't get it. So yeah, I'm not going. And I don't regret it. My mom chose her affair. I choose my peace. But what about you guys? Would you completely cut her off forever, or would you keep her at a distance just for the sake of family ties?